But when you move over to mixed martial arts, you can, if you have a slightly elevated skill set, then
And a
you look.
slightly elevated testosterone level.
No, how dare you? There's no steroids in fuck, dude. I miss Pride. I think that steroids should be required because nobody. Like, the thing about baseball, everybody's so fucking mad at Barry Bonds and Sammy Sosa and all that shit. Nobody wants to watch two vegan looking dudes like swing the bat and strain when they do it,
Vegan looking
and then
dude.
like try and run as fast as they can to get to second base. I want to watch fucking Mark McGuire break a bat, peel the fucking leather off a ball, and hit it 900 yards, not feet, fucking yards. That's what I want to see.
I think my to inject my opinion on sports and steroids. I really think there should be like just a drug, like there should be a drug free division, and there should be just one where they just let people use everything. That's what I
Yeah,
think. Because, but then I mean, they kind of have that in powerlifting, but there's still people who go to like the drug free division and cheat anyway. So
yeah. Cycling. So, like, we'll jump into steroids because I like that. And especially in sports and performance enhancing drugs in general. I'm a fucking chemistry experiment. I fucked with all of it. And when we were in Bellator, we did one of the Bellator tryouts. Three or four of us were literally sitting on the edge of the ring discussing what fucking cycles we liked. You know, well, this, that, and the other thing. And people looked at us like, oh, like we are fucking monsters. Like, how dare you? I'm like, guess who's getting fucking signed and guess who's not? And I'm not saying steroids makes you a better athlete. I'm saying it allows you to fucking train. Fucking, what's his name? Mark Ripito, that cunt from,
starting strength.
yeah, he's such a fucking douche. He's right about a lot, but he's also super opinionated. Doesn't know a fucking thing. He's like, yeah, I read the article. It said the reason that people use steroids is to get stronger. I said, no, that's not fucking accurate. It is
I'm
in
sure
strength out.
for some people it is, but like
It is for people who want to be stronger. It is for people who want to, deadlift 1,000 pounds. But for athletes like baseball players and jiu-jitsu guys and MMA guys, it's fucking recovery. The more we can train, the better we get. Like everybody wants to give baseball a hard fucking time, but let's be honest. You expect them to play 160 some games, sometimes double and triple headers, and travel and fucking hit a baseball. And God forbid they don't fucking go 3 for 4 and hit a home run that day. Then you just ostracize them. The fucking people want it. They just don't want to fucking know it's how it happens.
man, the YouTube algorithm is definitely going to bury this podcast. We're talking about steroids. We're saying fuck every other word, but who
Oh
cares?
yeah, go ahead.
But to be
Try,
honest,
try and get on Parlor if you can before they shut that down too.
Parlor. I don't think Parlor's a very big podcasting platform, unfortunately. Okay, but like if we're talking about what, this was something else I was going to ask you about, but I might as well ask now. If we're going to talk about drug use and steroids, what advice would you give to someone if they're in, like, let's say jujitsu and they want to compete, but they want to be drug free, or they're in MMA and they want to compete, but they want to stay drug free? Would you give
Um,
advice to that person? Like, what would you say to them?
Yeah, like I'll be honest, I didn't run my first cycle until I was in my fucking um probably mid 20s, late 20s, which is relatively early for TRT type shit. But it's the big thing is like you have to know what you're doing. Like Rich Piana, terrible example. He
Yeah,
did
he literally
he had a
killed
lot of,
himself.
yeah, he was snorting pre-workout. Bitch, that was cocaine. Um, but there's a lot of misconceptions around steroid use. Like if you treat it like TRT, like testosterone replacement therapy, you'll be fine. But I recommend one finding a doctor or somebody who actually knows what they're talking about. Like when I retired from fighting. I fought at 170. I'm 230 right now. I walk around at that time like 200 pounds, and I
Damn.
wasn't lifting. Like the day I retired, I went back to my fucking steroid buddies. I was like, I'm gonna see how big I can get, and I hit 248 with a 6 pack. Like I couldn't walk to the mailbox, but you know, but
I
at
was
that
225 at one point, but I was fat.
yeah, I was 250 and fat in college, but I've got to wrestle heavyweight for 2 years. I did it on purpose. But the thing is, there's so much bad information out there. It's like anything. There's so much bad information out there. Like I had a 15-year-old in the gym, juice out of his. I'm like, what are you doing?
Mm.
He said, I'm, like, I'm doing uh, 500 milligrams of test a week. I'm like, that's probably lower than your natural levels at 15. Like I would fucking pay money every day to have the testosterone levels of a fucking teenager.
Well, I
I
know.
literally at
I've
this
heard
point,
things a lot
but
of people say, like, if you're really young and you just like jump on gear, before you even really train, you're actually probably stunting your long-term growth potential.
Oh, you're gonna be fucking destroying your body. Like because as like things that people don't realize is like ligaments and tendon strength is a huge fucking thing. And I had the conversation with one of my strength coaches in college. I'm like, hey man, I want to fucking do a cycle because I'm wrestling. He goes, here's the problem. He goes, you're gonna get addicted to the fucking effects because you're gonna get insanely strong. He goes, and most likely, as strong as you are, you're gonna fucking rip your tendons and ligaments straight the fuck off
Yeah, so there's
because
actually, I don't know if you know about
you
this.
can't keep up.
Yeah, so steroid, they don't increase your ligament strength as much as they increase your muscle strength. And
Yeah,
also, there's also some drugs. I'm not exactly an expert myself, but I do know there's some PEDs that actually weaken ligaments. They actually
there's
don't.
fucking there's fucking antibiotics that doctors give you that weaken your ligaments.
Yeah,
So, hey,
exactly.
one of my
Exactly.
guys, antibiotic. One of my guys got a bad infection, and he went to a pharmacist. He's a Muay Thai guy. Went to Thailand for a year, and the pharmacist like, "Is this for you?" He goes, "Yeah." He goes, "Don't take this. Like this is for the elderly who don't move. Like this will fuck your tendons up." So yeah, there's all kinds of fucking things. Like it's the miracles of science, but it's also the dark side too. You know.
So, but what the original question was, if someone didn't want to do a like someone wanted to like stay entirely natural and try and compete, what would you what advice would you give
So
them?
honestly, fucking hire a legitimate, very knowledgeable nutritionist. I'm friends with my buddy Tyler Minton. He's a UFC nutritionist. Does Khabib, does Daniel Cormier, and ever since USADA has come in and ruined MMA, I mean, started drug testing, they his guys have been doing fucking really, really well, and it's because there is an actual value of what you eat now. Like you know, you can get like steroids. They're fucking they're a curse, but there's also benefits too. Like you can get away with all kinds of stuff. I did tren recently. It made me a fucking psychopath, but I could eat whatever I want and get strong and big and be shredded. But there's like I had cardio issues. Like I fucking was out of shape as shit. I also had COVID at the same time, so I'm not sure which is
Hmm.
the biggest issue. But
They both can't
when I
help.
no, definitely. I was like, I wonder if trans really that fucking bad. 'Cause I liked how I felt. I was a psychopath. I was completely fucking numb and dead on the inside. But no. So if you're gonna do that, you have to replace MMA and jiu-jitsu athletes use steroids so they can train more, so they recover faster, so they can train more. You can do very similar things with food and sleep. So like I would definitely hire somebody who knows what the fuck they're doing, and do not go to somebody who just has a fucking nutrition degree because they're morons. That's
Yeah, or
my
even if they're not, they don't have the context of what you're doing. You know what I mean? Like they don't know exactly like even if someone might be good at like, helping old people, do nutrition, it's not the same thing as,
yeah,
programming an athlete's nutrition.
exactly. It's funny, like I talked to my buddies about this. I'm like, hey man, I was like, why do people who go vegan feel so much better? He goes, honestly, I don't fucking know. He goes, but he goes, I really think it's tied to how many carbs athletes need. Because if you're a vegan, what are you eating? Fucking carbs and fat. Like that's it. There's some protein, but it's a whole different discussion. But the issue realistically is you're getting insane amount of carbs. Like athletes should have almost 60, 70% of carbs sometimes, depending on what their part of their the point in their training program, their weight loss or performance, what their goals are. It makes a big difference. Where your average American, fuck, dude, you give them 70% of carbs, which they're probably doing now, anyways.
Give me
They're gonna
donuts.
be, yeah, 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 and food quality is one too. It's a big difference. Like, but yeah, if you want to be natural, instead of spending money on steroids and stupid shit, you need to fucking hire a legit nutritionist.
Well, one of the things that I told my one friend who's like an amateur combat sports, I was like, because he goes, "Oh, I'm training in the gym with my friend who's he's on cycle or whatever," and I was like, "You can't do the same thing as him in your
Fuck,
training." Like that's what and I'm like, you got to do, like I'm like you got to prioritize like recovery, and you got to prioritize doing like just enough in the gym to make yourself grow, and then still having enough left over to train your sport, right?
yeah. I got my strength coach is Jeff Lee. He's the same coach I've used since college. I squatted so back like pre steroids, pre fucking all that shit. I was in college. I squatted 605 in a belt. Like ass to the floor, all that good shit. And I was strong as shit. And the thing that he works with me still, like when I did worlds, he sets it up. When I do stuff like that, he sets it up. Um, is that your number one thing as a sport is your sport. Like if your strength and conditioning is impacting your sport training in a negative way, then you need to adjust that because are you a weightlifter or are you an athlete? Like that's what it comes down to. I think that's something that people really have a hard time with. Like, well, I want to do this. I'm like, well, yeah. What do
Well,
you want?
what do you think?
Goals make a.
What do you think about people who do like they're like, man, I'm gonna make sure I run like 30 miles on the treadmill this week or something like that instead of, and then you're like, well, how much time are you spending on the mat? That's
Fuck them.
because
Like so,
I don't.
there's a
My personal opinion as training. Obviously, I haven't trained anybody who's like as training some lower level athletes and so on and so forth. Is that like there's really not a good transference from doing stuff like running on a treadmill to actually like performing a sport. My general recommendation is like you should spend most of your time, your cardio time, like doing your sport, right?
um yeah, it depends though. Like it's tough to talk about different energy systems. Like it's tough to hit like a lactic threshold. Well, that's not too bad. It's tough to hit um like different capacity type stuff like doing jujitsu or sport related. So like general I hate sport specific exercises like punching with fucking weights in your hands. All it does
Yeah, I
is
agree
make
with
you
that.
all it does is make you punch slower. Like I love Dan Henderson, but he sold out, and I'm sure you got a bunch of money. That fucking thing, that little outfit where you fucking have the rubber bands to your
Oh,
body,
great.
that's just making you fucking throw stupid punches. But so there is definitely a necessity to train your conditioning, and it's not just fucking slogging. Like I just took over on Muay Thai program again because I didn't like what the fuck they were doing. Um, and the thing about boxing's so fucking archaic, and Muay Thai is even more archaic, where they're like, let's just run 5 miles a day and then do this and this and this. I'm like, yeah, that's not how it works. Like you need to fucking sprint because I used to do a lot of personal training and coaching athletes and shit, and then I got away from it because I fucking hated those people. But like I trained two soccer athletes, both went to college, and so soccer, oh, they run a lot. No, they don't. They fucking sprint a little bit, and they fucking walk and slog. So I went to explosive repeats. I'm like, hey, we're gonna do a lot of fucking sprinting and recovering, and they both passed their college physicals within 2 weeks. Like some of the best conditioned athletes on the team going in as freshmen. So you have to understand how the program works, like what the sport is. So running 30 miles is not going to make you better at jiu-jitsu. That's like the very roundabout way. Like what I would do realistically is fucking sprints. Like I hate explosive repeats. I don't want to say Tabata because Tabata is a specific fucking work set. People just fucking throw it around like keto. Like, oh, it's keto. No, bitch. Keto's like 5% fucking protein too, or 20%, something stupid
Yeah.
like that.
Well, like
It's
real
low.
keto's like 5%.
Yeah, it's something silly.
Yeah.
Yeah, so um yeah, explosive repeats are excellent because if you think about jujitsu or even MMA, it's very explosive and then kind of chill a little bit. So like when I program for my guys, it's like we'll do 20 seconds of like jump squats or plyo push-ups or something explosive. It has to be explosive, and then 40 seconds of active rest, which is very similar to a fight. And then we'll as the conditioning increases as the camp goes on, we'll increase our explosive and decrease our recovery. And I feel like that works pretty well for guys.
See, it's funny. I kind of program like that a lot, just kind of out of intuition myself. And I'm a big fan of those. And if people look at me weird because they're like, "Why am I resting so long?" I'm like, because, like you said, if you're always like if you're always like, oh, well, we're going to sprint at maximum capacity, like you can't, by definition, always be working at maximum capacity if you're doing an hour-long workout, right? You can't be doing like only 10 seconds of rest like Tabata does, right?
Yeah, yeah, it's yeah, that's the biggest thing. Like, well, I want to sprint. Well, you can only realistically sprint for like 45 to 60 seconds, absolute max. And then your body's like, oh, we can't physically fucking do this anymore. We don't have the ATP and the fucking all shit. So we're gonna start changing. And this is getting way deeper than most people understand. But like, your body doesn't have that fuel anymore, so it's gonna go to something else. Like, I want people, oh, well, I'm gonna sprint this. I'm like, no, you're not,
Yeah, they're like, I'm gonna do
because
like maximum sprints for like a minute and then a minute on, a minute off, and I'm gonna do like 20 sets of that. And I'm like, no, you're fucking not.
Sure, no, let them do that. But I want someone to sit there, and there's two ways you can do it. One, and this is the hard way, you can get a fucking radar detector, talk about how fast or slow they're going to be going at the end, or run distance. Like, I want you to sprint as far as you can for 60 seconds, and then do it again in a minute. And it say just for, let's say they're fast as fuck, they go 400 meters the first time, and then 395 the second time, and then 340 the next time, and then 280. I'm like, yeah, your fucking body's not recovering. So yeah, I'm 100% with that. That's exactly how you should train.